All righty, we are live. Played in Traffic every Thursday night. You know we do this. We come here and we talk with the boys. We try to bring you the best in guests and the best in topicality, and we're doing it again tonight with Mr. Lewis Lee, myself, Ray Guarino, who's a second fiddle, but also we got Gil with us tonight from GCD Auto Studio. And boy, do we have a topic. I was just involved in a car today that falls into this. Gil, why don't you tell us what we're going to talk about tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to talk about it's been actually a trend for a while now, but it's evolving, So we're talking about modern drivetrains in classic vehicles. And I remember before modern would be, hey, I'm going to get a Harley sniper system or whatever. But now, we're doing LS conversions, modern transmissions, in these classic vehicles. And what's happened over the last few years is the other manufacturers have looked at that and said, hey, there's a big opportunity. So now you're seeing Mopar, you're getting the Hemis, the Elephants. Ford has stepped up with the Coyote motors, the Illuminators. So there's definitely an opportunity to keep a Ford in a Ford, keep a Mopar in a Mopar, and just put LS motors in Chevys. I know that's not going to make Terry happy, but he wants to put LS in everything. But there is a way to keep it, manufacturer specific as far as when it comes to these drivetrains.
There is a little chink in that armor, and I'll tell you exactly why. We got a call at the shop. There was a guy wants he's got to get out of his house, and there's a car there that his I think his mom's second husband was going to restore, and he took it apart and he was going to LS it, and he bought a brand new. He had a supercharged LS, brand new crate motor sitting in the garage with a 5-speed tranny. He passed away. So now this guy has a car and he's got to get rid of it because he's got to get out of the house. So it's a 71 Le Mans and with the GTO nose on it. Nice looking car, convertible. Nice looking car. So we went and looked at it. And of course, another guy that we know in our circles already heard about it, swooped in, scooped up that LS and the tranny. So that's gone. He did leave the oil pan and the alternator in the back seat, so we got something left.
We got something.
So we bought the car, and we're going to build it with the thought of a flip and to make some money. And on the way back to the shop, we were talking about, okay, are we going to go with the traditional Pontiac V8 or an LS? So what do? I dialed up Terry and I said, hey, you're on speakerphone, dude. We're talking about, the options. So of course we all know what Terry said, but actually he did turn me on to a guy he knows who LS the GTO and has the 400 out of the GTO available. So we may talk to that guy. If we go original, we'll do that. But there's still you could say that it's it's a GM swap, but it's not a Pontiac swap if you go with an LS.
Well, I mean, if you look at those later GTOs, like
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I mean LS2, it's still
I do say that.
Yeah. Well, here's the positive about new LS is the gas mileage is better. You get a little more horsepower. Pretty easy to work on, but it's just a more drivable car than that 400.
Yeah, and I think aesthetically you can do things to dress up the motor to make it look like a classic, small block motor. You can do the valve covers to cover the injector, plugs. I mean, there's stuff you can do with the air cleaner. I mean, you can disguise it very well to make it look like a classic motor.
Right. No, in a lot of ways, now that's true, and it's really not arguable, but. Like on the other hand, what I did with my car, I have an older Pontiac, and I decided to resto mod it to kind of make it the way I always wanted it because I've had the car forever, which is a full, pretty much like a road race type suspension, and not an LS. I kept the Pontiac engine, but I did go with Harley. I went with 2 snipers and a 5-speed transmission. And every time I take the car out, I smile because I say, this car never idled this nice. It never ran this nice. That fuel injection really made such a difference in the tameability. And yet, when you hit it, the car just screams and goes. I said, wow, this really bang for the buck wise. I'm very happy with the choices I made. So it all depends what you want. It all depends. A lot of guys are used to newer cars and not working on them, and for them, the LS swap is great because you take it to your friendly shop and have the oil changed. That's
Yeah.
it.
And
Now,
that's
did
the
you notice?
challenge we face, as a builder, a good portion of the clientele we have are not really car people. So they're
Yeah.
just they want a car, they want us to build a car. So they're not the type that are gonna get in, pump the pedal, and it's a
Yeah.
carburetor motor. If it doesn't start, then what do you do? So a lot of the newer clientele out there just wants to turn the key, have it start every time. And that's the beauty of a new drivetrain is it's more user friendly, and that leads on to, hey, a custom chassis from Roadster Shop, or
Oh
the
yeah.
speed front end. So I mean, these clients are looking, they're getting out of a 2023, Audi or Mercedes, and then jumping into this Chevy Camaro or
69.
Pontiac
Yeah.
GTO, and they're
Yeah.
expecting feel. They love the look of a classic car, but a lot of clients don't understand. That the feel of a '67 Camaro going down the road all stock doesn't feel anything like
No.
a new.
Well, in fact, case in point, like you mentioned, I have a friend who has all older cars. He has newer modern cars that he drive, but he's an old car guy. And I had to show him, like, okay, this is how, like, if you ever got to, if I'm ever incapacitated, you got to come pick this car up and take it somewhere. I said, this is how you start it now. You throw this kill switch. I said, you turn the key when the car is cold, you turn the key on, and you got to wait like, 4 or 5 seconds. Wait till you see this screen come up. That means the system filled and purged and gave you a little bit of a quick little shot, and then just turn the key and don't touch anything. And he was like, wow, okay, wow, that's good to know. I would have never known. I'm like, yeah, easy thing to learn, but yeah, he didn't have any idea. So, yeah, there is a learning curve.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I
but
think it makes it more, driver friendly, more user friendly. I think that they would tend to drive the vehicle more if it's reliable, and it's easier to just get in, jump in, turn the key, and everybody's kind of looking for that to a certain extent. Until, I mean, you get the real like gearheads, the motor guys that know the cars, and they want that certain rumble, and they appreciate a carbureted motor, and
right.
the suspension, and they want the feel of it. Like, if for me, getting behind a classic car, you're getting behind it because you want to feel that nostalgia of the car.
Uh-huh.
But
Oh, absolutely.
I
And
get modern drivetrain.
yeah, I mean, I love it every time I go out, and I see that the same fenders and hood I've been seeing for, 40 something years. It's like, yeah, it's nice, but now it's painted. It's sweet, and people appreciate it. I mean, I don't have to tell you, when you ride down the street, I mean, I've had guys jump out in front of me, like I thought I was going to hit them, just to tell me how nice my car was. Like, dude, get
Yeah.
the hell back on the sidewalk. You know, people
It's
are,
always a challenge when you're out there test driving stuff, because you're on the road and people want to get close to you and like take pictures or whatever. And like,
yeah,
meanwhile, they're right there, and you kind of get nervous. Like, all right, well,
yeah,
how good of a driver is this person? It's like,
yeah.
Right. So, Gil, what cars you have in the shop right now that you're
well,
working on?
speaking of modern drivetrains, we just delivered today a 1972 Ford Bronco with a Coyote swap in it. So,
Nice.
and that was quite interesting. I typically don't do test drives with the client, but this time around, I had the client come by and take the vehicle out just to kind of get a feel for it. And I'll probably never do that again, because this guy, I was like, just ease into it, just take it easy. That lasted about a minute, and I'm like, oh my god, he was moving pretty good. But we had modern bucket seats with good seat belts in it, so I stayed in place. But this guy was he
Did
was
you ever
loving it.
see? Did you ever see the episode on Unique Whips when they built a Viper for a guy, and the guy goes to test drive it. Will jumps in with him, and this guy goes out the parking lot straight across the street up over the curb.
Oh my god, oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we just delivered that Bronco. We got the so coming up this season for season 2, which we're going to be on Sunday nights. We're starting in late October. We come right out the gate with a classic car, 55 Chevy. Episode 2 is going to be this Bronco, but later in the season, we got that 66 Tempest with the LS swap in it. We got amazing 1955 hardtop build, roadster shop chassis, supercharged LS. We got a Toyota Land Cruiser coming up with a twin turbo LS. So
Wow.
Nice.
it's definitely it's a whole different world this season because we got all these full builds that we've wrapped up or we're going to be wrapping up at the end of the season. So it's not going to be a shortage of horsepower this season. It's going to be a lot of interesting projects. So
Nice.
I'm kind of jealous. I've never gotten to work on one of those new aftermarket frames. Are they really as nice? Do I have to ask?
I mean, it's the way I look at it is twofold, right? So when we sit with the client, and the Tempest was a great example of why you need to order a chassis, because the client wanted a modern feel, right? So if you go about it the traditional way or the previous way of doing things, you get a front clip on there, or you get some kind of upgraded suspension. You do a 4-link in the rear, so now you're going to upgrade the brakes. Maybe you get 4-piston or 6-piston calipers, hydro boost brakes. So when you start doing all these upgrades to modernize the look and the feel of it, because you're going modern drivetrain, and then you look at Roadster Shop's Spec Series chassis, where the body just drops on to the chassis, and the price difference when you figure all the parts you have to buy and the labor involved in doing all that work versus ordering this chassis. And I'm telling you, it comes in a crate. It's done. The fuel lines are run. The brake lines are run. I mean, the brakes are off of it just for shipping purposes, but you just install the brakes, you put the body on. The engine mounts are set. The tranny mount is set. And you think about all the labor you saved and just ordering that chassis and having it delivered, we look at it as having an extra employee. So that while we're doing the body work and getting other stuff done, mocking up the interior, this other employee, Roadster Shop, chassis is building the chassis, and when it comes in, we made them together, and that's what we're doing with the 55 Chevy. That's a fast track chassis, so we got to do some cutting because we want the car to sit really, really low on this one. So
that's a good way to look at it. I never thought of it that way as another employee.
Yeah, because you got to maximize your time. There's only so much you can do, and you with these chassis. I mean, it's just amazing as far as the craftsmanship in them.
Yeah.
And I saw that they just expanded. Right, they just added another 60,000 square feet. So their lead times are going to cut down. I mean, they're going to offer more products. I mean, it's just
what does a frame run that type of frame? How much does that usually run?
So, I mean, a spec series you can get in the low 20s, or even under 20. It all depends. It's very a la carte. So you can pick if you want the frame raw, if you want it powder coated, what type of brakes, what kind of suspension, fuel lines. So you can really dial in the details of it. So I would say on average, you're looking at low 20s. And then you go fast track where you're in the mid 30s. And then you can go, totally custom because, I mean, you can send them the vehicle. They can 3D scan underneath if they don't have the chassis, and they can build the chassis for that custom vehicle. So, I mean, there's so many options. But you think about it in the entry level, that spec series, if you can get under 20,000, you get that chassis. Now imagine getting the Detroit Speed front end, getting the 4-link rear, getting the Willwood 6-piston calipers, and powder coating this and powder coating that, and then doing all the labor to get there. I mean, just do the numbers. You're hitting almost 20 already,
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to fight with the old stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's all brand new, clean, no rust, no broken bolts. It's just
that's nice.
Yeah. And they're getting the ride they want. You can really dial in the feel of it, and you can even go. They offer the ride tech, so you can get the air ride suspension when you order the Roadster Shop chassis. We typically elect to do the coilovers, and just I love a static stance. I mean, air ride has its purposes, but for me, it's just I love setting the stance and having the vehicle just have the perfect stance and not worrying about airlines and airbags and that kind of stuff.
One of the things I find can be problematic, and I'm involved with it now in a car. I have a Mustang that had a 4-wheel disc brake conversion done to it, an early Mustang, and I can't get a brake pedal on this thing. I can't get a good brake pedal. Found out after taking a measurement that the the rod from the booster,
Mm-hmm.
which should have been 20 thousandths off the inside of the piston, was 7/8 of an inch short. I mean, that's a lot. And this is the way they sold the parts.
Yeah.
So I actually made a rod, but I still can't get a good pedal. And I don't know whose parts they are. I don't know.
It's a
so
challenge.
and that's the point I'm trying to make. So in the future, going forward, a lot of these cars that have all of this custom work done, unless a guy keeps a really good book, and even that may not tell the story. If you need to replace something or do a repair and get a part to add to, the poor guy working on a car is at a loss.
Yeah, I mean the roadster shop, they give you details on what pieces they're using, so what to order if you had to do a replacement. But just parts in general have been challenging. We worked on a few projects, and we're getting calipers brand new out of the box that are leaking. And it's just and it's just things are not 100% yet. And I think we're beyond the COVID or this, that, and the other.
Right.
Yeah,
just
I
not
hate
getting
that.
the parts.
I hate that cop out. I think at this point, stuff like the Roadster Shop and Fat Man and all those big guys, they're using top shelf stuff, but there's a ton of other stuff behind that's being sold in catalogs everywhere. And in the future, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be a problem for the poor guy doing a repair.
Yeah.
And then the poor car owner is going to be left in the lurch, with a car that he's going to be forced with we have to either retrofit and change this whole system to something we know that we can service, or you figure it, you find out what they sold you.
I think a good specialty shop could figure things out. I mean, we pride ourselves on taking on challenging jobs and figuring things out. I mean, you can get a lot of information from the number stamped on a part, and you do a little research. You can figure things out. I mean, but I can't. I could imagine seeing somebody taking a custom car to a shop, and them trying to figure it out. But I think if you're going to a specialty shop, a builder or a restorer, then we've kind of learned along the way a few of the tricks, or we've been down the road, so it might be a little easier for us.
Right. Tyler ran into a situation with one of my friend's cars. He has a 64 Impala, and he had somebody do a LS swap, but they hacked it up. So they took it over to Tyler's, and he couldn't get a pedal. And what happened is, when they moved the booster at a funny angle, so the rod wouldn't push it all the way, so he couldn't get the brakes until he figured that out. Just little stuff like that will throw you, a big curveball.
Yeah.
I mean, the Hydro Boost is great. I mean, because it works right off of the power steering pump, so it's very responsive. It's a very good system. But you gotta there's some learning curves with using some of that, but we did that in the Broncos. I mean, that's the other challenge too. Is these people want these modern drivetrains. They want the horsepower, but there's a lot that comes with it. You got to upgrade the rear, you got to upgrade the brakes, the suspension. You can't just go really fast. You have to stop really fast too. That's the education process.
That guardrail comes up quick.
Yeah. And it's just, you got to make sure it's a safe driving vehicle, not just a fast vehicle.
Yeah, that's true. So, tell us a little bit about your show, Married to the Car, or Rides. Married
to the Rides. We're coming up season 2 on PowerTube TV, which has been a great platform for us. And it was funny because I was just at Syracuse just almost 2 months ago. Wow, it's kind of quick. And we were there, and we were set up next to these other builder guys. They have a show on Motor Trend called Bitchin' Rides. And people were coming. I mean, people were lined up for hours to get autographs and T-shirts, and this, a few people came by because we were promoting PowerTube, and it was nice to interact with people. And they were like, "Hey, we love your show." So it was just interesting to come across people that have watched the show and that are fans of the show. One person even, when I was talking to Dave. And they were complimenting Dave on his show, and the guy turns to me and goes, "Hey, I love your show too." And I was like, "Oh, hey,
that's nice."
Cool.
but it helps, you know. We went to recently. We went. My mechanic and I, Scott, went to look at a job with '66 Mustang project. And the people, you know, we went there and I introduced Scott and they're like, "Oh no, we know him already. We've been watching the show." So
That's pretty cool.
it's just this comfort level of people because they're already familiar with us from the show. So that helps, you know,
Yeah, it helps
ease
trust
that relationship. Yeah. So I mean, they can see it, and then we have people asking us, you know, that we're working on new projects. They're like, you know, is my car going to be on the show? You know, so it's definitely
Did you find the 166 Mustang left in existence that isn't a rusted mess?
I'll tell you this Mustang. It's an amazing story. The gentleman inherited the vehicle from his dad. It was restored in Puerto Rico originally. Wasn't a good restoration, so now we're taking it on. It's been off the road for like 6 or 7 years, and the approach we're going to do is we're going to get it mechanically sound, safe to drive. We're going to refresh the interior because it just needs to be cleaned up, and then we'll address the body and paint later on. But every spot you would think it would be rusted, the shock towers and you know, things of that nature, it was all fine.
Wow. The vents under the dash?
All fine. So it really just just in
Wow.
certain spots where you wouldn't really expect it, and it's pretty bad. But
Yeah.
it's going to be garage kept, so it's going to be fine for a few years. I honestly I think you can get 3 or 4 years out of it. I mean, before he has to do it, because you know that's a vehicle you want him to get back on the road, and doing a full restoration is time consuming. So I'd rather get the vehicle back sooner, enjoy it, and then if they want to make that bigger investment of doing metal work and body work, go ahead and do that as well. But
right.
that's kind of that's what the show captures. It captures us. You know, Linda and myself, my partner Linda, my wife. She runs the full build side. I do the interior side. Occasionally, we interact on certain projects that have an interior and an exterior being done. But it's about the relationship with the clients. It's about some cool projects. It's about the relationship with our team. It's all real. There's no fake drama. You actually see what we're working on as we work on it. We don't stage anything, and you get to see some pretty amazing builds and some great craftsmen. You know, we definitely delve into the interior part of it a lot, which most shows don't. So, and I think that's been the feedback, is the fact that we show a lot of the craftsmanship about the interior work, you know?
Yeah. It's good that you have that ability, because that's the thing. We had a fellow on my radio show years ago. He's an interior guy, and he says, he goes, interior guys, we feel like the Maytag repairman. He said, we're always the last guy to get thought of in the project. He goes, and by that point, all the other money's been spent because the guy upgraded everything that he said he wasn't going to, and he extended himself on other stuff, and now he's got no money left, and he wants an interior done cheap.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. By the time they get to the interior shop, I always say they're out of money and they're out of patience, and it's just because the mentally you got to put yourself in their position. It's we understand it. They've already spent a decent amount of money. The vehicle looks complete and it looks drivable. So now it's just you are in the way. It's you have to finish it. So it's paint's on it, the glass is in it. Like in their mind, it's like it's done. You just throw some seats in it and get it done. So they don't really have the patience for the.
And now a guy wants custom door panels and a custom console and all of that.
Yeah, we're working on a '66 Nova right now in the shop and the interior side, and we meet with the client, we go over all the choices, we pick the materials, and that's all done. And then, throughout the process, I send pictures, and then they're like, "Oh, that carpet looks a little too light." So then it's like, "Well, it's the carpet you picked." Yeah, I know, but I want to go darker now. So now it's like you got to rip the carpet out, and then it's like, well, it's not just ripping the carpet out. I got to make new patterns. I got to take the seat out. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's like, so there's. It's a relationship of, yes, we're trying to get it done, but if we make changes along the way, it does take a little longer. And, so there are challenges when it comes to that final stretch, that interior stretch of things,
and I think some of that may be the fault of TV in general, because on TV you see a car being done and it's getting done in an hour, and then they meet with the owner and says, oh, you know what? Yeah, I decided, instead of I know you got the car all jammed out and it's already got a base coat of purple on it, but I'm going to I want to paint the car pink, and instead of doing that the black interior, I want it in gold. It's like all these last minute changes, and I decided to go for an automatic, not the stick. So you got to change it, and it happens in an hour.
Yeah.
So I think people get conditioned. I mean, I don't think anybody really believes it happens that fast, but I think over time they do get poisoned.
Yeah. But it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because we look at these TV shows, and it's done amazing for our industry. It's put our industry in front of people who are not normally car people, right? Who have disposable income, who want to do certain things. But it also, sets unrealistic expectations with getting stuff done.
Yeah.
I hate when they start talking numbers on some of these shows. Like, and that used to happen early on. We're like, oh yeah, this much money. And they would break it down, and they're like,
yeah,
they built that whole car for $40,000. I'm like, yeah, your parts bill is $150. What are you talking about? $40,000.
Regionally, prices are very different depending where you go around this country.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to Dave Kingdig. We were at a show, and we're eating lunch. I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Oh, our cars start out just for the parts $200,000 right off the bat."
Yeah.
So, how do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was talking to someone about a build, and they were like, "Yeah, I expected it to be, like $200,000. This wasn't one of ours; it was someone else's." And I'm like, "How did you expect it to be $200,000 when you spent over $100,000 on parts?"
They put themselves
on. There's work that still has to be done, metal work, body work, interior. Like, there's so much stuff that goes on. Like, if your parts bill is $100,000, your build's going to be $250 plus easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking last night after we went to the range. We went of course, I had to go to the diner and have a banana split. So I'm talking with the fellow who the shop that I work at, and his son. It's a body shop. I just do mechanical stuff, and he's got two cars, a Mustang, a 70 Mustang, and a 71 Chevelle SS. And I told him, I said, Mike, none of us, even the guys that have the ability to work on the cars, none of us could have restored either of those cars like you did. And the reason is you own a body shop. We just couldn't have done it because the amount of metal work that was done, it was all the hard. It's like, forget the hard metal work. It was the stuff underneath the hard metal work that had to be done. I mean, these cars came so far apart, and he was able to use his shop and use the hours in the shop that way to take care of this. I said, he goes, yeah, he goes, yeah, I love a cheap buy-in. I'm like, yeah, the project was a cheap buy-in. You knew it was going to be.
That was the last cheap thing. Yeah.
I said, but the good thing is you did save two cars that would have otherwise just been crushed. So at least you did save two cars.
Right.
So
I think as a builder and a restorer, it's part of your responsibility to educate the client, and you really should take the time and educate them on the process, educate them on the, the options they have, the timelines, the cost of things. Because I think if you get all that done up front, it's going to make for a better relationship in the process.
I've actually shown some people, like, come here, let me show you something in the shop. Like, these are the parts that you bought that should have been okay, but let me show you why we can't use them. They don't fit. And there's sometimes it was a problem on the manufacturer side. Sometimes it was a problem on how you ordered them. You just ordered rotors. You had no idea. You didn't think about bearing size. Who would think about that, right? There's 100 different reasons things can go wrong. And a lot of times you show people and they're like, wow, yeah, I guess I should stick to my day job and let you guys do this, right? Like, yeah. Absolutely.
And it's a relationship too, because it could take a few years to do some of these bigger restorations. We're wrapping up this 64 Lincoln Continental hardtop, and that'll be the season finale for the upcoming season. and that's been a 3+ year process. But we rebuilt the 430 motor. We had to get 180 something pieces either polished or chromed. It's finding the right parts. I mean, this vehicle was pulled out of a field where it sat for over 20 years. It needed
Wow.
quarters, it needed doors, it needed trunk floor, it
Mm.
needed trunk lid, it needed so many parts.
Mm.
And that's what took so long, is just the process of doing the metal work, letting the primer cure, and working on doing the body work, and just waiting for the motor to be built and waiting for the chrome to be done, so that we can mock things up to move on to paint, because we're very meticulous about, we're not going to paint unless all the trim's on there, because
Right, right.
there's an issue. I want to know. We replaced the quarters. We have 4 doors from 3 different other Lincolns on this thing. We don't have the original doors. So we got to make sure everything lines up and it's 100% before we go and, put paint on this thing. And it's black. So, it's a nice straight black car. I'm not going to go backwards and oh,
Yeah,
this doesn't fit. The windshield doesn't fit. This, we got to go back and tweak this and touch this up. And it's like,
yeah. Talking about an Impala or a Galaxy. You're talking about a Lincoln.
yeah, it's a big car, it's a lot of work involved. So,
Yeah.
that one took quite a few years. But even with that one, when we spoke to the client and the vehicle shows up, and honestly, it wasn't even a good parts car. This thing was
Oh,
very far gone.
wow.
And they said, hey, listen, go on eBay right now. There's one available. I think it was 95 grand. You should buy that car. It's fully restored. It was restored within the last 3 years by a reputable shop. I mean, this thing was perfect, pristine condition, a lot of prominence. It was a very nice car. And the gentleman was like, nope, it's my uncle's car. I want to restore it. I know it makes no sense, but this is the one I want to do. And I'm like, all right, well, as long as you understand, it's gonna be a lot more than that car that's right on eBay right now.
Right.
You can
Right.
jump in that and drive that for a third of the cost. And
Sentimental.
that's where I said you got to really let them know that these are realistic numbers and this is what you're getting yourself into.
Right, right.
Yep.
And
All right,
some
well-
guys can do that. I mean, they can allocate the money and they can get more money. They can do that if they have time. Not everybody, but yeah, those are great guys to work with. Great clients.
Yeah, and we get the people too, the blue collar people that are doing these projects, and we work with them too. 'Cause some stuff could be done in stages. Bring it in. We have a C10. We've done quite a few different things on. We did a few suspension things. We did brakes. We did a blueprint motor in it. We did a trans upgrade, and now we're going to do the interior. And eventually we'll get to the body and paint. But every few months he brings it in for a couple of little things, so that way it's not tied up for half a year or a year, and
Good use out of it.
he's able to budget it, too, the right
Right.
way. And I think that's part of the process. And also, I've turned down quite a few jobs in the shop, because Linda and I feel that financially it has to make sense. And then some clients have the best intentions; they want to do certain projects, but when you start running the numbers, you realize that it just doesn't make sense for you to do that. Like, you should really. This is not the right project for you. You should really focus on other things. I'm not going to take your money because this could turn into a $40,000-$50,000 issue. And you're saying, hey, I got 20 now and I can get the rest. And
Yeah.
you have other things going on in your life. And you should really focus
Right.
on those things and not bury yourself in this car. Because if you don't finish this car, let's say you got $50,000 worth of work in a vehicle and you only get $20,000 into it. What you've done is spent $20,000 making a $5,000 marketplace vehicle for sale that somebody can purchase and go ahead and finish it. So
sometimes when you give someone that economic model, they can understand it, because now you're going to put $10,000 or $20,000 into a $5,000 car, and what are you going to have when you're done? You're going to be underwater, and the way you're doing it with this, the pink lace paint job, and with all this other crazy crap you want, nobody's going to want to buy it. So you're really pigeonhole. A lot of people can understand the money end of it if it's explained to them correctly.
yeah.
But,
And some people get bothered by it, but I'd rather sleep better at night knowing that I didn't go down this rabbit hole with you where it's not going to turn out well, you know?
Yeah, it's the same on the other side. We've had people come to us and say, "Listen, I want a car, and what kind of car do you want?" Well, okay, so the guy has a short list of what he likes and what he wants from back in the day. Okay, how much money do you have? Well, I can go between this and this, and he's looking on eBay and looking. Well, it used to be that cars were cheaper, so they're finding cars that are low dollar and like, okay, well, that car is going to be 40 grand. That one's going to be 100. That one's going to be what? Well, yeah, because you're looking at a $500 car that's missing all of its parts and is rusted to death. What do you think? So, and I would tell them, take the money you have and buy something that's done already, or even if it's 3/4 done or more than that. If it's within the striking distance of being finished, spend as much as you can on something like that, and then you have a chance of reaching the finish line with it, or a car that is all the way done, and then you just get in it and drive it and say, I enjoy it. And if you really still want to have something built, keep that in the back of your head and save that for later when, if you still have the itch after driving this one.
Yeah, and spending the money up front on a finished vehicle is going to save you so much money on the back end. Like if you can get something that is in great shape, doesn't need metal work, doesn't need body work, and you spend a little extra money because it's definitely worth it, because then you can personalize it. You say, all right, I got the vehicle, and now you know what, I'm going to drive it, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to put a little more money together. I'll do the interior, or I'll change the wheels on it. I'll start making it my own vehicle. And you're starting from a much better price point than if you just hey, I saw this one for 40, but this one was 10. Well, that's 10 because it really should be 5.
I think a lot of people get tricked into thinking that, I have to build it so it's mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of taking somebody else's thing and making it yours.
And I actually told one guy that, I said, well, you know what? At the end of the day, you didn't build it. I did. So it's mine, not yours. So you want to go there. I mean, if you really want to talk about common sense. So I've used the analogy of people with houses too. Like, you're looking at a house. Are you going to buy the total wreck that needs to be totally gutted and redone because you say it's less money? Or are you going to buy the one that has all the wiring done and the AC and the plumbing is already up to spec and you just need to redecorate a little? Which one makes more sense? Oh, well, the second one. Well, it's the same thing with the car. So why do you want to buy that piece of shit car that needs everything? And you don't know what the end is going to be. Where another one that's 3/4 done, you're much better ahead. Sometimes it kind of smacks it and puts it in perspective a little bit.
Yeah, I think where people run into trouble is they only have the 10 to put in to it.
True.
They don't have the 40 to buy the nice car. They have the 10 to buy the wreck, and they don't realize that it's just not the right decision right now for you.
Then you have no business being in that position at this time. You should take the 10, drop it in a CD or something and invest it, and wait till you get some more money and then come back and see us.
Well, 25 years ago, that was a reality that, 10,000, you're going to get a nice car.
Right.
And people, all this time they've been thinking over the years, I'm going to get a nice car one day. And I got 10,000. They're still thinking that they're in that price range. You know what I mean? And I
think you just have to go a different era, right? So if you got 10 grand, you can probably get yourself a nice IROC or a Fox body, or you're not going to get the 68 fastback, but you can get a nice 85 or 80.
Yeah, mid-80s Monty SS, and a Pal SS.
Monty, you can get a Cutlass. There's things you can do within that 10 range, but you're not going to get the Shelby. You're not going to get the Yanko Camaro or the the Superbird.
It's like the house analogy. You're not going to get the multi-million-dollar mansion. You're going to get the starter home that's in good shape. Now, here's a guy who knows about this, Justin from American Gas, a hot rod shop. Justin, you must be sitting there seething at this conversation, saying,
just a little bit.
I want to get in.
I did wear the right shirt today, talking about the Roadster Shop chassis.
Look at that.
Right one.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, Brian.
Let it go, man.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Another day of fun.
I know you were sitting there seething. So
I'm agreeing with all of it. This is exactly the same stuff we deal with at our shop. You know, the whole
Yeah, I don't
people
think it
think can be
matters
done in
region
an
to
hour.
region. It's all the same.
No.
Yeah.
Justin's up in Saginaw, Michigan, so he's up, up north. So what do you do with a customer like that who's got, a beer pocketbook, but he's got a champagne taste, and he's coming in wanting, I want that, like those cars that you did over there. That's what I want. How do you talk them down?
It sounds like you're just not going to get there. You know, like you said, it's like you said, you can't
Brutally honest.
you can't have champagne on a beer budget. I mean, you just the stuff's not cheap.
Right.
You know, you're talking a full build car to buy parts, to do metalwork, paint and body. Yeah, I mean, you're 6 figures in.
Right.
Easily. Yeah.
You don't even talk about it if you're not there.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't even touch on the cost of materials nowadays.
Oh, sure.
Just getting primer and Bondo and sandpaper and the paint and even on the interior side, the cost of leather has gone up drastically. Everything's gone up. Plastics have gone up. It's just
probably one of the biggest questions. The biggest questions we get at car shows and stuff. How much to paint a car? How much to paint a car? And people think it's $2-3 grand to paint a car, and it might have been years and years ago, but you're not even close.
I don't think 2-3 grand you're getting sandpaper and primer yet.
I was just going to say sandpaper alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I have. I want to say $500 just in sandpaper on this bus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Easily.
Kind of crazy, but you gotta get it done.
Oh yeah.
Then there's little stuff you don't think about too, like staples for interior, glue,
razor blades.
Yeah, razor blades.
Yep.
Just stuff that you don't think about until you go to the store and like, oh my god, I got $30 for a box of razor blades.
Well, and this is why years ago, my friend's got a motorcycle shop, and he had some efficiency experts come in and look over the business and see where he could, maybe cut some corners, not waste some money and make some more money. And they really did a really comprehensive job. And one of the things that he had to start doing after that was like charging for chemicals. Each mechanic had his own little chemical warehouse by his station there of, carburetor cleaner, brake clean, and gasket. This stuff was because you only need a couple spritzes and, and then you're done. But they had to figure out a way to charge the customer for that fraction. So otherwise, basically they were giving it away for free. And even rags, the cleaning rags. And even myself, I was kind of taken back at that when I heard that they were going to charge for that. But then as I thought about it and said, well, look, it's a cost that they're incurring to work on other people's motorcycles.
Yeah.
Why should they have to spend that? Unless they're going to raise the price of the labor. Nobody wants to see that happen. So
I think it's the way you approach it too. Like we'll do like a generic materials fee, like to cover those incidental fee, like pieces, like the chemicals or rags or certain things. You got to kind of cover that. And there's a certain formula you can use based on what you're doing. But I've also seen it on the extreme end where shops are like, they'll itemize it. 10 cents for this washer and 20 cents for this bolt. And it's like, wow, that's really going to bother a client. If you just said, hey, it's $56 for miscellaneous fasteners or,
it's
whatever,
funny.
it's miscellaneous versus.
It's funny you say that because one of the things I do is, when I work on my motorcycles, I cross over a lot of different areas. I'm not a purist on anything. So I'll use a lot of the chrome hardware I have for my motorcycles on my car. Like every one of my cars that has a carburetor or a fuel injector on it, I use chrome flats, locks, and acorn nuts. I just think it looks nice. It finishes it off. I even have chrome acorn nuts on the header on my Fiat, because I think it's just that little touch. But every once in a while, I got to go back to the bike shop and I got to buy X amount of, button head Allens or flathead Allens or regular Allens or not. And last time I went, my friend's partner says, wow, he goes, only he would know this too. He goes, you're going to be shocked when you see what the price of this stuff is. He goes, I bought these things at like 40 cents a piece back like 20 years ago. He goes, and now I got to charge you like, $1.85 each.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And I had a nice little laundry list. I walked out of there with like $40 in this little tiny bag. It was like
I had a reality check 2 days ago. I was working on my curtains for the bus, and I'm sewing them. And I ran out of thread,
Uh-huh.
and I got pretty thick thread. So I look up at my shelf. I'm like, well, I'm not Gil, so I don't have a wall of thread.
Right, wall thread.
And so I ran out of black. So I go online, look. It is like $60 for a roll of thread. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I bought it like a couple years ago, and it was like 20.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God.
Crazy. It has gone crazy.
Those are the things I'm talking about. Yeah, that you don't realize.
Now I'm looking through boxes, seeing if I got thread somewhere else, because I don't want to spend the $60.
So if you were making curtains for somebody, that now is a cost of the job.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can use
Hey.
I don't know how many feet in doing curtains, 50 feet, 60 feet of thread. I don't know.
Yeah, you go by ounces with the spool. But even today, I was just getting some more ABS plastic, right? So we use them for door panels and consoles. 5 years ago, we paid $2 and change for a sheet.
Uh-huh.
I was quoted today for $8.60.
Wow.
Half inch thick sheet of ABS.
Wow. Unbelievable.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
you got to factor those costs in,
Yeah, and you get so outraged. I'm looking at my thread. I'm like, I know I got another black thread somewhere. You know what I mean? You just don't want to spend that money, but
you should have called me. I got like 6 rolls of it.
So I said, he's the thread guy right to you, man.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, I wish I had a wall like Gil.
You talk about that, but that's just like the air fitting that goes to air tool.
Yeah.
And as 22 years of selling air tools, a guy comes out, wants an impact, you put everything. You used to throw in one of these, you throw in a cover, and you're on down the road. Well, this used to cost me 80 cents. Okay, and now it's $3 and something.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the guy says, well, I had a guy today, he goes, where's my fitting? I said, just take it out of the old gun, dude. And he's like, you're not giving me one? And I said, my cost is over $3 now. I mean, it's like I said, it's just insane. And I had a guy, and I had to change it on my invoice. A guy wanted a a die grinder, air die grinder, and I told him it was $220, and he said, yeah, no problem. And I know that he needed the end, and he needed the roll lock end to put on, and to put the sandpaper on. So that's all priced in. It was $175 for the grinder, $10 for this, $15 for that, and $20 for that. So it came out with tax $220. And when he saw the invoice, he goes, "This is $6." And I'm like, "Dude, it all came out the same price. It's $220." But like you said about those guys that break it down, that's just unfortunately that's the way my software is for my inventory. And unless I now make it as a kit, so it just has one price, but then I have to go back and take it out of inventory and show. And of course, it throws the profit rate, margin all off because, the price is not what you're doing. But again, it depends on how anal you want to get or how upset the customer gets. You can't win with this. And it's definitely crazy on everything with prices.
If you want to get something cheap, don't get it in cars. Just don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It was just like the other night, my oldest had broken the little stopper in the sink, and she's like, the water won't drain out. And I said, what do you mean the water won't drain out? I go up there and the little plunger valve thing got all jammed up, and of course, everything's, we put all that stuff in 20 some years ago when we moved in. So, I get up underneath there and I'm jiggling and wiggling. Of course, it snaps and now the piece breaks off. And so he said, oh, I just want to run up and get a new pipe. Man, I walked out there with, $75 later. I should have just bought a whole new sink setup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's nothing is simple or easy or cheap. You're not going to put a $5 part on anything anymore.
Yeah.
Nope.
Without causing
What's
more
up, Mr.
headache.
Coverman?
Terry.
Got a split soon because little boy, he is he's running around. How's everyone doing? Gil?
Good, man.
Yeah. What got up in that bar over there?
Oh, listen, I
Looking
got
good. I think all of a sudden he's got some better stuff up there now, huh?
oh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff up there. See, my goal is that if I keep buying Roadster Shop chassis, I'll get on that oil and whiskey podcast. So.
That's a good goal. That's a good goal.
Yeah.
So how many of those bottles are from the customers? When I turn wrenches, I used to have a pretty good collection.
I got a bottle yesterday from a client. They bought me a bottle of Woodford. But these are just my collection of things. I probably have about, just recent count, 105 different
nice.
bourbons. We're growing. We're growing our collection.
It's not like the coffee.
I love coffee too.
Coffee and cannoli.
Coffee black, whiskey neat, man. That's it.
Oh.
Terry's still upset with the cannolis. I get you, Terry. Don't worry.
So bothered by that, man. He stole Tori from me.
Yeah, that's all right though. You can
I just
share.
talked to Tori. I just talked to Tori 2 nights ago. Actually, the day after you called me, Terry, the next night, Tori calls me. He's like, I need some advice. You got to help me out. I'm like, lay on the couch, brother. Stretch out. Let's go.
Ray's the go-to guy.
Yeah, we had a good talk. Good long talk. It's always at least an hour with Tori, at least.
Tori drives right past my house, what's it called? Just to go see Gil, drives right past. I mean, it's literally like 2 minutes off the highway, but that's all right. That's all right.
I'll tell you what, you hook us up with that engine we were talking about today, we'll be stopping at your place.
I will give him a call tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to give him a call afterwards after we hung up, but tomorrow definitely I'll give him a call.
Good.
Because he offered it to me for the Le Mans. I was like, he did to LS is going in this. So no, I didn't want that. Yeah, because he had just put an LS in his, and so you don't care if it has you said something about the engine mounts.
Yes, up to 68, the block had 3 holes on the side to mount the mount. 69 and up, there's 2 holes. So this is that later chassis, but I think they make. I got my Ames
adapter. They make a.
I think they do make an adapter. I'm gonna look in my Ames catalog right here.
There you go. I got that same Ames catalog.
I think they do. So that would be the only concern.
So in other words, just get the engine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just get the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Terry, what were we saying we were going to talk to Gil about? One of your projects. I forget that quick. We just talked earlier.
Bourbon? No.
What?
Yeah, bourbon's good.
Suburban. Suburban.
That too.
Get some bourbon. Let's get all the bourbon.
Yeah, all the bourbon. No, we were talking about the CUDA, because I don't know if you guys know, Gil, he's gonna hook the interior up. Matter of fact, what we did was we went out and he's got all my panels. He's got all the panels and the seats. I went out and got my man. I was gonna give him the buckets. He was like, "Don't bring that. No. Go out and get yourself some Porsche 6-way seats with heat and air conditioning and all that stuff." And I did. I found a Porsche. And hey, Gil, do you need the rear seats? I mean, just to have them. I mean, how often do you have Porsches come in there that might just need rear seats?
I can use those. I got my graveyard parts there, so yeah.
Okay, because like the seats came with it, and I was
not much to a Porsche rear seat. It's like 2 little pads and a little folding thing.
Yeah, like a little pillow, put on the airplane. Yeah, So now he's just waiting for me to, I guess, come up with a color.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
That's where it starts. So, fellas, what color do you think I should paint this CUDA? Gil gave me some colors now. There's 2 really nice colors, but what color do you think? Think 70 CUDA. AER.
I mean,
it's gonna have
green.
What color?
Oh, then you gotta do lime green or mango. Go mango, yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Sure. Absolutely.
We want something different.
Oh.
Yeah,
well, not 70s.
Well, no, it's going to be a 70 CUDA car, but if they had the color of today, he already told me no more oranges. He said, you got enough orange cars.
Right.
So I'm banned. Because I was
I
going to go
mean,
butterscotch or something.
that car is iconic in black. But you know, black is black.
See, black with any color interior, that's where it sets it off.
True.
Nice interior in it.
Well, you know, I like a nice, and I think Nissan has a color. It's like a fountain pen ink blue, kind of like the darker blue. It's like an ink blue color that is gorgeous.
How do you feel about that, Gil?
Well, I just happen to have a Cuda in the shop right now that's of dark blue.
But not this is
I
this
sent
is a
you that picture
new
of it.
color, and it really is. Like I said, it's like fountain pen ink, and it's a metallic with pearls. Pictured out with a buff interior with blue baseball stitching.
Yeah, we're doing this like a darker tan interior. It's got an SRT motor in it.
There you
chassis.
go.
It's a really
I mean,
nice
you could
car.
even go dark buff with that. You know, more
I
like,
like
a
concrete.
like a holster color. You could do like that. You know, you can.
Camel.
There's a lot of choices.
A concrete.
One of my buddies was saying a color, and he says you're not going to think about it, you're going to hate it, but then when you go home, you're going to think about it, and you'll be like, you know what, that'd be pretty nice. He said like almost like a steel blue, like where it's like almost gray, but it's like almost it's like bluish, but it's grayish. It's more grayish than blue. It has like really like a nice blue tint to it,
I like
like
that
almost like a who had that color that's out like that, like almost like a. He showed me a picture of the car. I forget what it is now, but it's more silver than it is blue. But you could see, like you see it coming. It's almost like an ice blue.
Okay,
And I was like,
see it, but
that would be different.
yeah, definitely.
What are you doing for graphics on the side of the car? You doing like the AAR stuff, or?
I don't think I'm gonna have. If anything, just the AAR badge in the back.
Okay.
I don't think I want the little chop stripes. You know, I'm open.
Maybe ghost them.
That's it. I'm trying to think with that blue.
Yeah, I kind of. Yeah, I kind of. We still see Gil. He's just sitting there. I think he already knows what color we're going with. It's not my choice.
You got a lot of choice. I love looking at, like, when we're doing a project. I love getting all the new, like, PPG, like all the new model books. All the modern colors, and then looking through that and tweaking those colors. I mean, there's a lot of nice palettes. I mean. Porsche always does beautiful colors. Even Toyota, some of these Toyota Tundra.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was a Toyota color that he showed me.
Oh yeah.
That's what it was.
BMW too.
Yep. And you can tweak those colors, and I love the idea of whatever color you land on, whatever wheels you go with, using that color wheel to use the graphics, kind of tie it in a little bit. There's a lot.
It's time I make a trip on up to Gil's shop and have some coffee with him.
Yeah,
and absolutely. Go through a couple of books.
Go through some books. We got all these little color swatch,
exactly.
Yeah.
You need to go to Target and go into the Hot Wheels section and dig through and look at all the Hot Wheels and see the colors on the car. That's how you pick your car out for your car.
We need this color. What's the color code?
Yeah. you start with the color decks, and then when you start narrowing it down, I tell people, go to the dealership. Go to the dealership, walk the lot, and see the color on a car, and then see what color interior it has in it, and then you start, those ideas start flowing.
That's definitely one of the hardest parts of the build. Customers picking out colors. We've had a few like, go to a car show or something. Just go look. They have an idea they want this or that, and it's like, well, just look, see what it might look like.
Right.
Yeah, it could make or break a project. The right color. It's just you got to steer them away from trendy stuff too. It's like, that color. Yeah, I've seen it on 6 cars, but that's the color today. But when we, in a couple of years from now, when this thing's wrapped up,
you can't go wrong with white. So.
Yeah, but you have to like white too.
But you know what it is? It could be a trendy color, but on depending on what car it's on. If it's on an old school muscle car, it never goes out because the body lines on these old school cars, it'll always look good.
Well, truthfully, the Cuda is small enough to carry white. It won't look like a
Go with
beluga
something like
whale.
cinnamon or celery. A cinnamon
Like
color. Ford's got a lot of good cinnamon colors.
Yeah.
Gil said I
Like
can't go
kinda
cinnamon.
gold.
Gil said nothing in the orange, brownish family.
No orange
says-
and browns anymore. You're
No,
done.
orange-
Cinnamon's red, man. Cinnamon's light is more towards red.
It's
the brown
it's
color.
the same. It's in the brownish red.
Like I
Gil
said,
says
throws
no
my
go.
like gold.
Well, why
brown
don't you
kinda
have
color
like a
out.
real car and just leave it au naturel so we can beat the shit out of it when we come up and drive it? So that's what I don't have to worry about a paint job.
Are you saying you want to drive a real car instead of like the fake cars that you've been driving?
Hey
those
man, I'm
Mustangs?
ready to drive
Just,
anything, dude. I don't even have anything to drive anymore, so I'm ready to drive.
You sold the
something, dude.
Mustang?
I don't have anything. I mean, I got a shell. I got a car sitting here in a shell, but I don't have everything else is gone. I'm carless, dude. Just me and the tool truck.
The tool truck.
Yeah, and that doesn't even run right. So I mean,
Why don't you just bring that Mustang going up this way. We put an Ellis in that thing, no problem, man.
I'm almost ready to do anything because I
We're
need
still
something
friends,
to drive.
Terry, but come
Nobody
on
wants
now.
to drive me around no more.
He's always messing with me. That's the reason why I said he's always messing with me.
It's okay.
Hey, Gil, I told Brian that the fellas will round up and we'll all go down there and help him put his car back together to get him on the road, at least get him rolling down the street a little bit. Might not have a motor in it, but we'll push.
Do you have an engine for that car?
Yeah, I got 3 of them.
I can make
what's
302
the
noises.
delay?
I
Is
got
it
3
time?
of them sitting here. Huh?
Is it just time that you don't have?
It's just in a million pieces, and I have a lot of the stuff laying. I have a lot of the parts. It's all the little things. It's the little things, and unfortunately, I could not stop taking shit off of it. Every time I turn around, I kept taking more and more stuff off of it. It's literally just a shell sitting there.
Yeah.
And
So you're the reason. Okay, I got it now. Okay.
no, I'm terrible. And then I was putting stuff back together and painting, and I get all fucking anal over this doesn't look right, and I restrip it and repaint it, and hell, by the time I'm done, I spent 2.5 hours on a steering column that nobody's ever going to look at. So
Yeah, that's okay though. I mean, that stuff.
yeah, I know,
like that.
but I mean, a lot of it. I mean, a lot of the, and I'll be really honest. I would love to have the car back together, and I want the car back together to a point, but I know that the last time I had the car on the road, I stopped somebody from stealing the car, and after that, I could never leave the car out of my sight. And all I know is it's sitting here, and I even still freak out when people see it. If I had the door open and people see it and they stop and they want to look at it, and I have to close the door. I do things under the cover of darkness out front because I don't want anybody to know that I have it. So
You actually caught someone trying to steal your car?
yeah, 3 o'clock in the
Wow.
morning. 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up hearing something, and I said that sounds like a coat hanger on a window, and I looked out the window, and the person was jamming down in there in the door.
Jeez.
So how'd you stop it? I mean, like, what
And that was 35. I mean, the car's been off the road for 30. So 35 years ago, and after that, we would go out to a movie, and if I drove the car, I'd get up in the middle of the movie and go out and look at the car.
I wouldn't even
And
drive it
got
to the
to a
movie.
point. Huh?
I wouldn't even drive it to the movies.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean,
right.
at the time, that was my own. I mean, I drove that car. I mean, I loved that. I mean, I loved it. I drove that car regularly. I mean, like I
You
said,
drive it like and be within eye shot. I mean, like I wouldn't be going.
but
it's like
if I took it out on a night, and if I took it out and we decided to go to a movie or dinner, I mean, you know how anal it is when you go to a restaurant and you got to tell them you got to sit by a window so you can look out in the parking lot to see watch the car.
Well,
I don't
Brian,
see
that's,
anything wrong with that.
listen, that's when we all drove our cars as double duty.
And like I said, it wasn't every day that you'd just come by and you see a car with a tunnel ram sticking out and 2 4s, and it's sitting out there in the parking lot, and everybody would walk by and want to touch it and look at it, and I'm like in the middle of taking up, I gotta go outside. Oh, fuck, dude.
I don't know. It is when I hang out with my buddy Mike. He's got the '67 Chevelle with the tunnel ram with dual quads with no hood. So
yeah, I had no hood on. I had no hood on it. I drove around with no hood.
You're not going to use the car now the way you did then.
Yeah, I know.
You know that. So the argument is, I'm sorry, the argument is moot. This is the one time I get to shut you down, so I'm going to do it because you can't get me. I'm sorry, you can't complain. There's no bitching here. You're done. Terry's right.
I left the door open, and one day I came out and I saw a pair of legs under the car. Some dude actually stopped, got out, and climbed underneath the car. He wanted to see what rear and what setup I had underneath the car. And this is in my garage.
You live in Youngstown?
You're dragging these people out from underneath the car and beating the
and I'm like, hey,
exactly.
You got a problem? Hey, I'm just looking, man. It's okay. Get the F out of here.
Well, listen, all I'm going to say about that is you're either going to do it and enjoy it like you should, or you should get rid of it because you're never going to be happy.
Well,
you're going down that hole. You do it every couple of months. You turn and you go down that hole. And then, you slowly come back up. The Gopher head pops up and Brian's happy again. And then everything is cool. And we talk about what we're going to do and how everything's going to be nice. But you're going in that dark place and you got to stop it.
I know.
You got to stop it. That's what we're here for.
What'd you do to the guy when you caught him out with the coat hanger?
I came up and jacked up behind him. And, he turned around and he's like, oh, I was just looking. And I'm like, with a coat hanger, dude. Like the car needed a fucking abortion, dude.
Oh, man, that's too much of a conversation going on, man.
Yeah.
That's too much,
So, like I said, I don't know.
What can you do? Now, you don't know if this guy has a gun or anything like that before you catch him.
Oh, yeah, back then. We've talked about it before. Back then, the only thing that you ever worry about was getting stabbed, maybe. But other than that, now you just look at a guy wrong, he'll shoot you.
Well, Brian, like Ray was saying, though, you're going to treat it different. That's going to be your Sunday car or your go to the car show car. Back then you had to drive it to work or the movies.
But
4 miles to the gallon.
There's a guy that has a orange 65 fastback, white interior. He's a little older than me, and it's all stock. And that dude, I talked to him a couple times, and he drives that car. It's amazing when you go by and see it sitting at the Safeway because he's grocery shopping. He drives that car every day like he did back in the day.
You heard.
I give him a lot of credit because I could never.
We got a guy that called us. He's a local guy, and he says he saw in Rockville Center this guy driving a 427 Motion Biscayne, and it was at the supermarket. And he says he's seen him there a couple times. I was like, wow, that's kind of, but and the thing was, the guy got the car because he had to buy the house. It was a estate sale, so he had to buy the house to get the car, and he did it. And I guess I don't know who this guy is. I'd love to meet him, but I guess his thought is, it's like, hey, you know what? As long as I'm here, I'm enjoying this thing.
It's awesome.
We
I wish I could turn that around in my head.
I know. Yeah.
I did a engine swap on a 32 Ford the one time. We put a new small block in it because the guy literally wore it out.
Wow.
He had 200,000 miles on his hot rod.
That is cool. That's what it's supposed to be.
He's like, I hope I can make another 200. I'm like, I hope so.
Right.
And that's what he does. He drives it everywhere.
I save it for the next. We rent these cars, man. We're not here that long, and they are. Why save it for the next person? That's what I tell my friends. Why? Yeah.
That couple with the PT Cruiser we did the Hemi on, same deal. She takes it to the grocery store. They only live a mile from town, and it's got a couple thousand on it already.
Beautiful.
I'm not going to stay 2 hours doing some major shopping with the car sitting outside, but I will go and pick up some, I don't know, couple of things and come back out. I don't, trailer queens, I don't get them. You know, like you want to drive them. I mean, even my Chevelle, I haven't drove it yet. I'm fixing to drive it hopefully by September 22nd. But I already have in my mind it's going to get little rock chips. It's going to get little dings. You know, don't get mad. It's like a new car. But you know, the cool thing is you can always get it repaired. So
Right.
just go and enjoy it. Just have fun with it. And
And technology, you can put technology on there so it's hard to steal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of new stuff that, you know, makes it harder to steal. But if they
I
want
like
to
old
get it,
technology, like a bat or a golf club or a hockey sticks. Those work very well. You know?
Put the
Big
club
1-inch
on,
wrench.
put the club on it.
Exactly. It's even
Yeah,
you know even
club.
a club. You
they
know.
have technology that really straighten them out.
You know?
Yep.
With the club with the pull-out radio, you know.
With the little one look the big H, you know, the club.
Hey, let me tell you a story about the club.
Except no substitutes.
Hey, so the club is from local here. It's just outside of Youngstown. It's called Sharon, PA. So that's where the club was invented, right? So my buddy was a deputy sheriff, and he was the guy on the commercial.
Oh yeah.
The stiff guy.
Yeah, so you remember
Except
the guy?
no substitutes.
Right. So listen to this. His car got stolen with the club in the back seat,
Oh man.
and he was the rep.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
I never would have told anyone that.
Oh
No,
yeah,
not at all.
yeah, we were on
It
him.
did slow them down, you know, because they had to move it so you can sit in the back with the other two guys.
Just get your manual transmission. Nobody will be able to steal it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Very true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what everyone
That's
says.
true. Yeah, I looked at a couple of vehicles here the last couple of days, and they've been all manuals. And my daughter said, "Well, what if I want to drive it?" And I said, "I guess you're learning to drive a manual."
Yeah.
So I told
Nothing wrong with that.
nah. But
So what is
I
it?
said
I mean, do they even sell manuals anymore? I mean, can you get like a new car with a manual? I mean, like,
well, Ford still offers it. Ford,
Yeah,
that was their whole platform last year or the year before. They're not going to get rid of the manual
Yeah, Mazda does
transmission.
too.
why do you
And there's
think
a
that so
few.
many people don't know how to drive a stick?
They never
Yeah.
learned. You know, automatic.
Well, hey, actually, it's funny. A buddy of mine, he's got a newer Bronco, and he had taken it into the dealership for a warranty issue thing. And they had called, and he said, "Okay, well, I'll be by late, 8 o'clock to pick it up, before you guys close. I'll be by to pick it up." And they said, "Okay, no problem. You can come until 9 o'clock." So he gets there and, warranty. I mean, there's no pay. The guy gives him his copy and says, right here. And, he's standing around waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And he goes back in and says, "Hey, where's my car?" And he goes, "Oh, you're still here? Oh, well, let me go see if I can find the guy." So they come back and they said, "Oh, could you come with us? It's up on the upper deck, and the guy can't drive a stick. And to come get your car. There's nobody here to get your car." So he had to walk up. And the whole time he was going for that walk, he's like, "Am I going to smell clutch?
Right.
Am I going to smell clutch?" And when I get up there, like he tried to move it and,
Right.
smoked it or grind a few. Go up there and hear a guy grinding it out.
Yeah, that's what happened with me
Yeah,
when I
that
tried
would
to get
be
my
fair.
wheels aligned. What's it called? Wanted to get a spun balance, and the guy was just like, "You think you can drive it in? I don't know how to drive stick, or no one here knows." I was like, "I'll be right back."
I had that one time
out.
on the for emissions on the we used to run. We had to run on a dyno, and the guy goes, "Oh, you came too late. There's nobody here to drive a stick." And I said, "Well, this is the only time I have. It's the last day, so either you just give me the old stamp or what." He goes, "Well, you're gonna have to drive it on the dyno."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." I thought it was kind of funny. The guy tried at first. I said, "Could you please get out?" So
Yeah.
Out now.
Now.
And it was bad enough. That was on the Quattro, and they kept telling me I was in the wrong line because I was in the 4-wheel drive one, and they kept saying, You got to get over. And I said, dude, it's 4-wheel drive, all 4-wheel quattro. You know, it's all 4 wheels turn. So,
Gentlemen, I got to put this little boy to bed.
All right, Terry.
all right.
We'll see you, man.
All right.
Well,
Always a
I'll
pleasure.
put a
Yo,
UPS
be in touch.
sticker. I'll put a UPS sticker on the side of the Mustang, and when my guy comes Monday, he'll ship it on up to you, and you can put that LS in there. Okay.
Yeah.
What year is it? What year is it?
66 fastback.
You get a 69 or 70?
Oh,
Oh,
bite
here we
me.
go.
We're done, dude.
Hey,
Goodbye. Good night.
All right, Terry.
Thought you had a real
Yeah.
car. I'm
See
sorry.
ya.
Real
Did I say out
car.
loud?
All right, cowboy. I'll talk to you later. Watch out for that trash night. Fucking real car.
Yeah.
He's definitely not getting it now.
Yeah, he ain't getting it now.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Real
speaking of
car.
Audi, you see there was one like a high-ranking CEO died in like a mountain climbing accident the other day.
No.
An Audi
Hmm.
CEO, yeah, the guy was like mountain climbing somewhere overseas, and
Wow.
yeah, he went over.
Wow.
Yikes.
I never understand those guys. I guess it's all adrenaline, or they need that rush.
Yep.
Make all that money and have that lifestyle, and you want to go hang off the side of a cliff someplace. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No thanks.
Well,
Yeah.
hey,
It was either that. It was either that or sit with his wife, on vacation at the beach. So he figured, I'm going to go to the rocks,
Yeah.
go
Wow.
to the mountain.
well, we know he wasn't a black guy.
Yeah, well, right.
I always mess with my wife. We'll watch those shows. People get hurt, deadly, whatever. And I was like, "Hey, babe, you notice there's no black folks on there."
Yeah.
We just shoot each other. We don't do the dangerous stuff.
It's terrible. Terrible.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, I was telling the guys today, I was at the main shop, and they got a guy he's like scraping the old cement and grout out of these windows and, doing all sorts of stuff. And with the air gun, he's blowing it and, trying to have a conversation. I said, wow, that's loud. My buddy says, every once in a while I get up and I go over there and tell him, put the fucking air gun down. I'm going to stick it up your ass and inflate you.
Yeah.
And I said, I just saw Matco has a silent air blower.
You see stuff before I do. You guys, man.
It's a silent air blower, and what it is it looks like a regular gun, but on the end, I'll show you. That's the gun.
Uh-huh.
But this end piece has what looks like a Phillips head screw.
Oh, that's been around. That's OSHA approved. That's only 20. That knocks it down to 20 PSIs.
But they're saying that was actually it was a young Matco guy who was showing it. So I guess he maybe doesn't know the history. And he said, no, he goes, I guess that like diffuses the air and quiets it. Now he didn't demonstrate it, but had me curious.
Yeah,
about
that's OSHA approved.
Okay.
Some of the stuff comes, and then it's kind of funny after you sell that, and after the dude from OSHA leaves, the guys take a drill and drill them out.
They said the working pressure was like 50 to 250.
Yeah, it's supposed to not. I know the OSHA approved one. That one might not knock it down because I know it. The OSHA approved one, the tip goes in. It has a very similar diffuser like that, and it knocks the PSI down so that you cannot accidentally blow somebody's eyeball out with air pressure or something.
Oh, okay.
Those rough blow jobs are high dollars.
Right. That's always tough.
Yeah.
All right, so that's like a new twist on an old theme. Okay. Because he's like, I'm going to order one. I want one. I said, wait, let me find out tonight. Let me do some research here. Let me find out.
Talk to the guy.
Yeah, you just got to see if it knocks the pressure, the fuse. I mean, because the OSHA approved. I can't remember what the OSHA. You don't have that problem over there, Gil. Do those OSHA guys come visit you?
Nope. Well, we are in New York, which we get everything else, So.
Right, we do.
The fire marshal comes by and checks your little yellow cabinets and makes sure your rags are put away at night.
Yeah, no, we're really up to date on extinguishers and all that. My wife, who's my partner, she used to be she was a former code enforcer for the state of New York.
Oh,
Wow.
She's really strict on what exits are clear, and all
Yeah.
this. We have the binder with all the chemicals and all the documents, and
That's good.
It's funny because I'll walk into a shop and more or less most of my body shops, they get picked on, regularly. And it's funny because I'll be like walking through and the owner will be running from the other end and he's like, you got to go, come back later. Cause I'm not wearing glasses, you don't have steel toe boot, and they have some OSHA person walking through, just writing up, all day long. So that's another one of those hidden expenses on your build out.
We're fortunate. We're very organized, very clean, very by the book there. So I mean, when a client comes in, everything's it looks a certain way. Everything's good. We're very aware of safety and things of that nature because I know the alternative is if something happens, the insurance companies are always looking for a reason not to pay you. Reason. So it's one of those things you got to do and take those precautions. But
it's good that you're disciplined in that because a lot of guys, that's one of those unseen things, that I love when somebody says, hey, I'm going to go start my own business and I'm going to go do that. And you're like, okay, get ready for the roller coaster, dude. Because it's there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah. Our first bigger shop was in a town called Wallkill, New York. It's a big town. They cater more towards the big box stores and the larger companies. And originally, the first time the shop failed the CO because one of the 40-something parking spots you needed based on the square footage was 3 inches too narrow. So you got to restripe the whole parking lot because it was in one spot.
That's great.
So. We've learned that the state of New York is not very small business friendly, and you just gotta know how to play along so you don't have those issues. So.
Yeah, I had. Like I said, there's a lot of. I had one shop that they had it was a 250-gallon oil tank that used to store oil in, but it was a big square. You just imagine like a file cabinet laying on its side, and he used it as a workbench. And of course, they came in and said, well, due to the size of your shop, you have more oil storage than what you could do. So, and he's like, well, this is empty. I don't use it for oil. Here's my oil right here. Like I told you, I got two 55-gallon drums. And they said, oh no, you could, you might put oil in there for storage. It's got to be gone. And the guy's like, man, I've used this as a workbench, and sure enough, he even asked if he could just if he filled it with sand, and, could keep it. And they were like, either, you pay the money on it or it's gone.
It's cheaper to get a workbench. Don't even argue.
Yep.
My friend's motorcycle shop, they had out back a big plastic, I guess like a 55-gallon drum that the waste oil and the filters would drain into, and it was state approved. And he's had it there for like 15, 20 years. Now a new inspector comes in and says, oh, that waste oil thing's got to go. And he's like, what do you mean it's got to go? He goes, well, you need a metal one. He goes, metal? Why metal? He goes, the state told me I had to get rid of my metal one that I had and get this plastic one. So I did. Oh, no, well, now we're using a metal one. So you got to get rid of this. And I'll give you like a week. until I get rid of it and get a metal one. He's like, well, where do I get the metal one from? Well, you could go on our website and check one of our local contractors or suppliers, you know. And,
Yeah, there you
and
go, right there.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, man. Yeah. You know,
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're not giving us enough money. You got to do this.
We use a service at our shop, and we have the barrels. They come and get the waste oil, the antifreeze, the gasoline. You know, so it's more convenient just to do that. That way, there's a paper trail, and it's all legal. This company is in charge to come and get all the waste materials, and they have all the documentation to put it on the truck. And when they pick up something, they give you a new barrel to use. So it saves a lot of headaches.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
You learn to pick your battles in New York.
yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, he didn't even know we had that battle, you know, until the guy showed up. I was like, okay, great.
Crazy.
Locally, we're going through something at home now. It's like I just saw that in our town, it's illegal to have a fire pit. So,
Really?
Really?
Oh, shit.
it has to be, any open flame has to be 25 feet from your home now.
Oh, wow.
This is the new battle New York's going to take now. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Man, they wouldn't have liked the charcoal fire I had the other day because I had it blazing. It was fucking,
This siding started to sag a little bit.
I got
It was a good
aluminum,
one.
so it's no vinyl.
How you
I
find
got old 1970s Alcoa. It's like 20 thousandths thick.
Yeah.
My wife went to
There you
years ago. She says, we should have all this ripped off. I said, and do what? We'll have it all done in vinyl. I'm like, vinyl that sags and peels and blows off and doesn't last. I said, this is 1976 Alcoa aluminum. I said, you can't buy this anymore. I said, this house is clad in aluminum. It's sheathed. I said, I'd want to just take it down so I could go and reclaim it, recycle it, and get the money.
I know, that's what I was going to tell you. That's your retirement plan. You can go in and cash it in on recycling.
Worth a fortune. But I said, there's no way this is coming off this house. I don't care. It looks dated. It's old. I don't care. It's solid. You know, shit hits the house, it bounces off.
And it holds paint.
Yeah, I mean, we did have it painted, and then it looked fine. But you know, I mean, there may be like 6-8 inch slats, like the old style. You know, new stuff is like what, 3 or 4. It's like I'm not looking for glamour. You know,
when I was in school, I worked as a contractor, and we would pull gutters down that were copper down in DC. Man, that was a catch day, taking those things down to recycling, pull all that. And back then, that was all copper guttering, drainage. Crazy.
Sure.
Yeah, those were good old days. Wonder how much lead paint I sucked in when we burnt the paint off of it.
All of it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well.
Oh, you're fine. Let's have you. You didn't get any in you.
Yeah, I know.
It's only us short people got to watch out for that.
Well, guys, I'm gonna head out. I appreciate the invite and the show as always. So,
Gil, tell everybody where to find the show again.
it's gonna be coming up right now. It's on PowerTube TV. You can catch it on the PowerTube TV. They have the drop down where you can see all the past episodes. But coming up late October, we're going to be doing season 2. It's going to be on Sunday nights, 8:00, and hopefully everyone tunes in. We got a lot of great projects coming up this season. Right now, there's 10 episodes, and we got some amazing builds. We're going to finish up a couple from last season, but we got some new ones there, and hopefully everyone enjoys it.
And what services can you find PowerTube on?
You get them on Roku, Apple TV. You can go right to watchpowertubetv.com. So that there's just there's plenty of anyway on your smartphone. So it's available easy.
Get the app.
Yep, get the app on your smartphone. You can go ahead and on your smart TV, you can download the app directly. So it's very accessible. So and it's free.
And what's the name of the show again for people so I can know to find?
Our show is called Married to the Rides.
Excellent. Very good.
Right.
Very good.
Well, Gil, thanks.
I appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll be in touch again soon, and we'll keep sharing. And hopefully, everyone tunes in and checks out some of these projects.
All right, thank you for coming on, and your family, bro. You can come on anytime. You don't have to wait for me.
Yeah.
It's past my bedtime. I get up every morning at 4 a.m. So this.
Oh boy.
Yep, right there with you, Gil. 4:30.
It's a tough timeline for me, but we get through.
I do too. I shuffle into the bathroom. I look outside, then I go back to bed. Yeah.
Just hit 2 more shots from one of those bottles. You'll be all right. Come on.
That's all.
There you go.
All right, Gil.
I didn't need to weekend. All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, Gil. Thank
You
you.
too, man.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. Very good.
All right, guys. I think I'm gonna kick the bucket too.
Well, don't do that, dude. Just go to bed.
Just
Yeah.
You got some living to do.
get some sleep.
You got to hurry up and retire so you can hang out with us.
Well, I am. I'm on vacation right now, so I could stay up, but my
no.
body's telling me something different. Yeah.
I know my body tells me that in the afternoon too, and that's why I sit down in a recliner and my wife says, "Man, you was snoring." I'm like, "Yeah, so good."
Good for me. Good for
Part
me.
of the game, right?
So I'm supposed to do.
All right, guys. Have a good week. Talk to you next week. Hey, before I get off, Brian,
Yes.
this is our anniversary, so September 14th. Is that what day is that?
That's a
Saturday.
Saturday.
That's Saturday. That's when we started, I believe, on the 14th. I'm gonna do some kind of giveaway, and I have a budget of $100. What tool or something I can get off you that you would suggest for a good giveaway?
What do you want to do? I mean, what do you want to give away? I mean, what do you throw me some ideas? I mean,
Well, no, the idea was he's got a budget of $100.
I'm not really worried about the budget part. What do you got? What do you want to do?
I want to offer to people. You know, I want to get my numbers up on YouTube. So if they subscribe and share, or do something like that, some kind of promotion like that, for the anniversary. You know, what I mean, like want to give back, I guess you'd say. Or maybe a contest or something. You know what I mean? Or somebody can win. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it just really, it comes down to what you want to give away. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
66 Mustang.
Yeah. $100.
Well, you need to call back tomorrow, and when the wife answers, because don't worry, she's ready for it all to go. Don't worry. You might even find the fat white guy. You might find the fat white guy in the back seat, or what was the back area. You know what I'm saying? She's ready to pack everything up, and I mean, like I said.
Let's think about it. I mean,
yeah. Like I said, just shoot some things around, because I have a lot of. I don't know. Just like I said, I have a pretty nice. I have some glassware. I don't know if you want to do a tool or some. I don't really want to. I'm glad that you thought of that, but I don't want to really emphasize something from Matco. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it could be multiple things too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we give a couple things away, I don't know.
Like I said, because I got a whole bunch of glassware stuff. I got a couple clocks. I got tools. Shit.
I could autograph my coaching baseball card.
That's it.
I don't know that anybody would want it. My mom would want it, but other than that, I don't know anybody that would want it.
Well,
like
guys,
I said,
think about it, and if anybody has any ideas, let me know. I want to try to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a few not just what it's got Mac on, but I got some Rat Fink banners like what Ray's got behind. Something like that. I'm just trying to think of something that kind of ties into everything with what we talk about. I know we talk a lot about tools also, but like I said, something more, just not a tool. I mean, somebody might not really need or
right. Well, yeah, maybe we'll do a couple things, maybe four things, 3 or 4 things, something like that. Yeah, I'll think about it, and you guys, if you guys have any ideas, shoot them to me, and we'll talk.
Just like I said, I can help out, or like I said, just let me know, and I'll look around. I mean, like I said, I've got a lot of stuff, just not tool wise. I always find,
Or if you guys might have seen some kind of giveaway before on something else that I can give you some ideas that way too. I don't know. Let's kick it around. No stress. I mean, just kick around and see what you think.
Brian's got a pink Batmobile right here that he wants to donate.
No, I don't want to donate that. You better watch it, Coach.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
All right.
See you, man.
All right, later.
All right. So yeah, I guess we should do the same, and we'll get down to business. So yeah, for Lewis Lee, Ray Gorino, Ed having what do you call having Gil on was great. I wish he could have talked more about the interior stuff, because he's a phenomenal interior guy. I got to get up to his shop. So
yeah,
got to get up there and see it. And of course, you guys, Justin, I was chomping for you to come in to talk to him, because I knew you had to be seething there.
And everything you're saying, I'm like, yep.
And then the Lincoln, like you said, then he talks about doing a Lincoln, like, oh my God, we're right back there again.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And of course, from Echo Man and Coach Isaac. So we'll all be back next week.
And, take care.
And we'll take it from there. So
Bye, Mom.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.